بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Welcome to the Fiqh class. Today, inshallah, we will start with the book of marriage. After we discussed the book of financial transactions, Kitab al-Buyu', now we are moving to the book of marriage. And what's the reason behind putting the book of marriage after the book of transaction? Yes? It is a kind of transaction. It's a contract between two people. Then why it's not at the beginning? It's a bit of both. So it should be in the middle, if it's both. Okay, yeah, that's why. Whoever put it at the end, because they said that the other buyu', the other transactions, you need to deal with on almost daily basis. While marriage, maybe people are not married, so they don't need it. However, there are some scholars, they put actually the book of marriage in the middle, after the book of ibadat. They say this is ibadat, and this is part of it ibadah, and part of it transaction, and then the book of transaction. So it's important to understand the sequence and the reason why scholars put this chapter here and that chapter there. There was a reason for everything. They did not put anything haphazardly. So now we are moving to the book of marriage. What's the definition of marriage? What's the definition of marriage? No one knows? Yes. Why you're laughing? You did not take it in Fiqh of Love? The same thing? What did he give? What's the use if you look it up?
He said it's when the man has his obligations to his family, like it limits him to his family, his obligations to his family.
That's not marriage. You have obligations towards your parents, right? And they are from your family. Yes?
Olivia, she said she just attended Love Notes, which is the new class.
Okay.
And a contract between two people to enjoy the person of one another.
That's a good definition, but it's incomplete. There is a problem with this definition. Because when you say enjoy each other, that implies you are able to enjoy someone else. However, in marriage, the wife cannot enjoy someone else, only her husband. But the husband can. That's the key here. So when you say a contract where a male and female or a husband and wife can enjoy each other, that's incomplete. That's correct, but incomplete.
Sheikh, he asked her also that it's when a man loses his bachelor's and only gains a master's.
That's a good definition. Yeah. Well, as I said, that's a good definition, the first one, when they enjoy each other, but that contract limits the enjoyment of the wife to the husband and allows the husband to enjoy the wife. To avoid that problem, you could say this, and that will be the definition. In Arabic, they say عقد يفيد حل استمتاع المرأة بالرجل وملك استمتاع الرجل للمرأة. It's a contract that allows the husband to enjoy the wife and limits the wife to enjoy the husband. Is marriage a contract? We spoke about it in the class of Akhlaq. Why it is a contract? Because it starts with offer and approval. And that's what Allah called it in the Quran. That's why it is contract. Allah said about the marriage, it's not only a regular contract, it is a solemn covenant. It is a strong covenant. It is a contract not a regular one, but very strong. The next issue we have is the ruling on marriage. Does someone have to marry? It's not fard. Well, at least we will talk about the Shafi school of thought. Some people said yes, it is. Yes. It will always depend, but in general, when we talk about rulings, we say in general, yes. Exactly, it is recommended. It is recommended. In general, it is recommended. What if someone said, marriage will keep me busy from the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I want to dedicate my time for the worshipping of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah, actually it's against the sunnah. Because the people who came to the Messenger ﷺ, and one of them said, I will not marry women. What did the Prophet ﷺ said? Whoever turns away from my sunnah is not from me, one from me. Yes?
There are certain things of worship that only married people can do.
Exactly, that's why it is half your religion, because there are certain things only married people can do. Can you list them? Marriage could be sometimes haram, sometimes could be makruh, and sometimes mubah, 50-50, whether you are married or not. But in general, it is mustahab, recommended. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, in Surah Al-Ra'd, وَلَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا رُسُلًا مِنْ قَبْلِكَ وَجَعَلْنَا لَهُمْ أَزْوَاجًا وَذُرِّيَّةً. And we have certainly sent messengers before you, and we have made for them wives and offsprings. So that's the ruling on marriage. Now, in order to have a correct marriage, there are conditions. What are these conditions? Ijab and qabul. Wali. How many conditions? How many conditions? 5. What are they? See, as a student of knowledge, without memorizing the numbers, that's what I tried to start with from the first semester. Remember when I told you how many obligatories in wudu? How many things that will invalidate wudu? Once you start knowing the numbers, and you know that it is 4, it is 5, it is. But now, you just listed 2. How many more? How many? Try always to be specific. How many conditions? He said 5. Do you agree? 4. Three. So we have 4, 5, 3. Dowry, witnesses. That's what happens when you don't know the numbers.
I'm going 5. 5 sounds good.
5 sounds good. Who agrees with that falsehood? Okay. There are 4 necessary conditions. That was close, but you may add something to the religion of Allah without being conditioned. The first condition is what? Ijab and qabul. This is the first condition. The second condition is the wali, the guardian. The third condition is the mahr, the dowry. And the last condition is 2 witnesses. What else? What do you want to add to marriage? These are the conditions of...
They must be opposite sexes.
They must be
Opposite sexes.
opposite.
You didn't specify in this direction. Yeah, I like that.
You like that one? I don't like it. Because what if someone came and said they are from the opposite sexes, but she is his mother. Yeah, now it sounds weird, but people every decade, every year maybe, they are degenerating. So you want to adapt to them, you will not end, you will not stop. Yes? These things are implied. They have to be strangers. It is permissible for the free man, yes.
It says a woman in India married a snake.
Wallahi, I talked about this. She married a snake because I was invited once to talk about homosexuals, gay marriage and lesbian marriages. And they are saying that it is a freedom of choice. It is liberties. It is rights of. It is rights for every human being. So I said I have no problem with this if you told me what's the limit. What's the limit? Because if a woman came today and she said I am married to a dog, would that be legal or not? And they were shocked. I told them, I'm pretty sure there will be a time come and this will happen. And now we hear that there is a woman who married a snake. So where this will stop? Anyway, it is permissible for the free man to have 3 wives. And for the slave to have 2 wives. As a free man, you can have 3 wives. As a free woman, how many men can you have? 1? Can she have more than 1 husband? Not. Why? Why not? Is polygamy halal in Islam? Polygyny, not polygamy. Why not? And by the way, why? Because I don't like to spend lots of time, but it's really important. Since we came here, we have to talk a little bit about it. Yes? So if she's already occupied with 1 child for 1 husband and the other husband wants a child, he has to wait for his turn. That's good. What else? Yes?
How would you know whose child it is?
How would you know? But if someone came and said DNA, but no, modern time, but even the DNA, they make mistakes. Here in Houston, look what happened to criminal justice department. They accused people, and still, it doesn't give you confirmation 100%. What's the correct answer? Allah said so. Again, as I told you, yes, you try to rationalize it, but from the beginning, you tell them, I believe in Allah and Messenger. That's what my religion is. It's proved from Allah, and then you could explain. Because if you go, again, as I told you, someone came and argued, I am free, and I want to marry a man. I don't want to marry a woman. I am a free man. So this will not stop. Why Islam allowed polygyny? That's the, and I like this question. Because I shock people when they tell me this.
To limit the amount of wives American
To limit the amount of wives American have. Actually, Islam did not allow polygyny. Islam limited it. Because it was allowed already. Some people, they start becoming apologetic. They start saying, the number of women are more, and you don't have to do this. Islam did not allow it. It was allowed. Islam limited it, actually. At the time of the Messenger ﷺ, before Islam, what was the maximum number of women you could have? There was no limit. Nowadays, do you believe that still some tribes in Africa, they have approximately 40 wives? The chief tribes? Islam limited that. to 4 wives. One man came to the Messenger ﷺ with 10 wives. So the Prophet ﷺ told him, you cannot have 10 wives. You have only up to 4. So you have to choose 4 of them. These things are really important. But now, when we tell them Islam limited, why? Why you can have more than 1 wife? The first answer, because Allah says so. And instead of going for simple details, you take them to the minor things, to the major things. Who's Allah? What is Islam? Once you believe that Islam is the correct religion, whatever comes from it is correct. Once you believe that Allah is the true God, whatever He commands is the correct thing. So you obey. But if we try to rationalize it, what do you say? Why it is allowed for a husband to marry more than 1 wife? It is a man's nature. Is that true? Yes, it is. MashaAllah, you are honest. You are honest.
I've spoken to Muslims who are 65 years old, and I actually asked them the question, do you still have feelings for
Another wife.
And they were honest, they said yes.
Okay, what is love? What about love?
What about it?
No contradiction.
Yes.
Allah says He places love and mercy between the hearts of, like, the husband and wife. So if He has 4 wives, and Allah is placing love and mercy between all those wives and husband.
Exactly. Actually, there's no contradiction. The Prophet ﷺ himself, didn't he love Aisha radiallahu anha most? But does that mean his heart was fully occupied and he could not have any love for any other wife? No. And could you accuse the Prophet ﷺ that he was not just? He loved more wives. The only thing that you cannot have other place for in the heart is the friendship, the khulla. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala اتخذ الله إبراهيم خليلا. And the Prophet ﷺ said, if I had to take from this world the companion, I would have taken Abu Bakr. But there is no place. There is place only for one, and it is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But for love, yes, you could have more than one love. So there is no contradiction. But again, why nowadays, when they talk about polygyny, having more than one wife, why Islam permits that right?
Because of the increasing numbers of women.
Naturally. What's the ratio?
From like 10 to 1.
10 to 1. I heard that and I could not believe it, but it's almost true. If you count all those people who are locked up in prison, those people who are killed, those people who are in war, yes, it is true. The number of women are much, much higher than men. Women are outnumbering men. This is one fact. So if only that is true, then it is sufficient. What will you do? You have many women. What would you do?
It also helps prevent all these prostitution.
Exactly. When we say we have lots of women, but you can only marry one, well, you can only marry one, then what will other women do? You are telling them you cannot marry. Where they will go? And again, marriage is the nature. If women have desires and they want to fulfill them, where do they go? And unfortunately, in the law, you cannot have more than one wife. But you can have more than girlfriend. That's lawful, right? It's legal.
Yeah, because there's no law against it.
While Islam tells you cannot have a mistress, because you have to provide for her, you have to be responsible. That's what Islam tells you. And unfortunately, even Muslims, they think that this is something is not good. It is from the religion. It is from the religion. And by having this, many problems will be solved. Now again, many people, you don't know them. By marriage, there will be, as Allah said, love and mercy placed. And you'll get to know other people. وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ لِتَعَارَفُوا. But again, the problem, people we are way from Islam, so when it comes to the marriage, again, the same thing. But here is one thing people try to say. If you say the ratio is 10 to 1, 10 women to 1 man, why then Islam did not allow more than 4? Does that mean if the number increased, like the ratio became 50 to 1, you can marry more than 10? What do you think? Yes?
It would be obviously all how that he would know what a man is capable of taking care of 4 women and he couldn't exceed that much.
Exactly. So that's why, as I told you, I don't like to focus only on the numbers thing and the facts. The principal answer, it is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But once you have more women, then here's what will happen. You married 4. Out of these 4, there will be a mother that you cannot marry because she is the mother of one of the wives. There is a sister. There is the aunt. So even if there are 10, you cannot marry them because they will be relatives and there will be mahrams. So even if the number went high. And again, how many you can take care of? As wives, Allah knows that more than 4, you will not be just. And it will be very difficult. And people complain from one wife. Yeah. So let alone 2, 3, or 4. And we need to work on this issue. Honestly, because it's one of the problems that we are suffering from as Muslims. And when you talk to, especially the sisters, they say, yes, we believe it is from the religion, but I don't accept it for my husband. If he has to marry, he has to divorce me. He can. Yeah. Yeah. No, I heard this from some sisters. Yes, we believe it is from the religion, but not for me. Well, everyone says the same thing. What about think of others? That's what Islam teaches us. We have to think of others. What will happen to others? Where is brotherhood, sisterhood? Where is the teachings of Islam? Anyway, this issue, we can talk about it for hours. Looking at women, looking to women. Can you look at a woman? Once. So if you are watching TV for 2 hours, it's one look. What do you think? Can you look at women?
We can look at them
For
for the purpose of seeking them as a spouse.
purpose of seeking them as a spouse. What if she was already your wife?
Yeah, then you can do it.
You can. What if she's your mother?
Yeah, and anybody who's not family can see her in her natural state.
Well, again, this is the question. It's a broad question. You need to know what you're asking about exactly. Looking to women is of 6 types. 6. Again, remember the numbers. The first type, the foreign woman. What do we mean by foreign woman? From another country? Alien? Illegal immigrant? Not mahram. What do you mean by mahram?
Woman that you can marry.
Woman that you cannot marry forever. That's the mahram. So the foreign woman, the woman that you can marry. Can you look to a foreign woman?
Once. You're allowed one look.
One look. So if we have bunch of women, you look here one, here one, here one. What's the answer? Give me a correct answer, accurate answer. Can you look to a foreign woman? Yes.
Generally, you're not supposed to, but if you glance at
That's my question, generally. In principle. No. Why? What's the evidence? Why not? Yes? Exactly. An-nadratu, the Prophet ﷺ said, the illegal gaze or the illegal look is a poisoned arrow. It's not an arrow, it's a poisoned arrow from Iblis. What else? Another evidence.
One of the Sahaba was hiding with Rasul and he looked
Al-Fadl ibn al-Abbas radiallahu anhuma.
and Rasul
He was looking and the Prophet ﷺ turned his face. If it was permissible, he would not turn his face away. What Allah says in the Quran, always look to the evidence in the Quran. If you do not find, then you go. Exactly. How could you lower your gaze if you're allowed to look? So in principle, you cannot look. To a foreign woman, you cannot look. That's the evidence and that's the ruling. Is this clear? This is the first type. The second type, to the wife. Can you look at your wife? Where can you look at?
There's no restriction.
No restrictions at all? No. In the Shafi'i school of thought, there are restrictions. Yes. Yes. In the Shafi'i school of thought, you cannot look at the private part. That's the opinion of the Imam Shafi'i. Again, I disagree with it personally. I don't know if you agree or not. They say you cannot look at the private part. Khalil, do you agree with this opinion? The third, yes.
Isn't that the hadith of Aisha which like states that they used to take like baths together?
Yeah.
That's the hadith that kind of goes against it. Like,
Yeah. There is a hadith, but it's weak. ما نظر مني ولا نظرت منه. He did not look at me and I did not look at him. But it is weak hadith. Because, I mean, anyway, let's move on. The mahrams. Can you look at the mahrams? Your aunt, your mother, your daughter. Okay, where can you look at? What's the awra between the mahrams?
Olivia says navel to knee.
Navel to knee. Do you agree? No? What do you say?
I said no. I'm not going to say anymore.
No, then what? Someone came and told you, I am living with my mother. So what can I look at exactly? You agree?
Olivia's answer seems to be stronger, but anything else, I don't have to prove it. Her answer is stronger.
That's the opinion of Imam Shafi actually. From navel to knee. But again, that means all the upper part, you can look at it, which seems weird to us. But what's the evidence? This is an issue that many scholars differed on. Some of them are very restricted, some of them are liberal. So this opinion, it says that you can look at anything but between navel and knee. You should always apply the customs also. خذ العفو وأمر بالعرف. That's regarding the mahrams. Looking to a foreign woman for the purpose of marriage. Where can you look at? Or can you look at a foreign woman for the purpose of marriage?
Yeah, her face. Whether you're attracted to her or not.
Her face. That's all. Yes.
Isn't that the hadith that talks about how like they were like hide behind bushes and like look through the windows, so technically they can see whatever they see. Like that.
So again, what can you see? That's when the Prophet ﷺ told the companions, look to what will cause you to marry her or not. Look to what will cause you to know. Because there are no specific things here in this hadith. And that's why Ibn Hazm rahimahullah said, you look to everything. So,
Some say it's like
Try not to get your eyes poked out.
yes, some say, again, in the Shafi school of thought, where do you look at? Because again, this issue is controversial.
Well, I would guess to say that the Shafi'i would say that hair, face, hands, feet.
hair, face, hand, feet. No, that's
Even shin.
even what?
Shin.
Shin.
I'm getting.
You can look only to the face and the hands in the Shafi school of thought. Only. Why? Face tells you if she's beautiful or not. Hands will give you an idea about the body, the color, the nature of the skin. Because again, subhanallah, that's true. Even nowadays, if people try to change their body, and the hands still, it tells you about the body. So that's only what you could look at in the Shafi school of thought.
And that is according to the hadith of the Rasul when he spoke to Asma.
Yeah, that's according, that only this is allowed. But that's only what you could show. That does not mean you could look at. But once for marriage, that's what you could look at. This is for marriage. For treatment, if a Muslim doctor and a female came to him, Muslim female, what can he look at? What do you think?
What is needed to be looked at?
What is needed, exactly. Because in principle, can he look at her? No, you cannot look. If there is a need, you look according to the need only. And again, this is something, in Muslim countries, they don't care about it. She's patient, so she's undressed, especially in the surgeries. And that's haram. If she has a surgery in her hand, only her hand should be shown. If she has something in her feet, in her leg, that's all what she should show. As a doctor, you are limited to what you need only. What if we have a Muslim doctor, male, and a female non-Muslim doctor? Which one she should go to? Female non-Muslim.
That would come naturally. When you think about it, she may, the non-Muslim may talk about, the woman or whoever, she's treated. Whereas the male Muslim will kind of divulge any information.
So she goes to the male or female? Yes.
I don't think that the Muslim doctor would at least, if he knows his rights, would treat her differently.
Because he's Muslim doctor, he will know her rights.
Like, he would know how to know the rights of a Muslim woman, and he wouldn't go about those.
Yes, okay, we'll see.
You said Muslim male with a non-Muslim female?
No, the patient is a Muslim female, and she needs treatment. Where does she go? She has option, female, non-Muslim doctor, and the male Muslim doctor.
Female non-Muslim is the one she should go for.
Female non-Muslim.
Take my wife to the female.
Female non-Muslim all the way.
Yes. Female, yes. The rule here, there is a rule. The unity of gender takes precedence over the unity of religion. That's a rule. She goes to the female non-Muslim doctor. But again, always with conditions. Like that this female doctor does not respect Islam. And she may cause so and so. Or she may cause things that are horrible. So you don't go for her. But in general, that's the ruling. The unity of gender takes precedence over the unity of religion. So as female, you go to female. Because let's say someone accepted Islam. A daughter accepted Islam and her father is Christian. Does that mean she cannot show him anything? He is her father. Okay. Number 6, the last type, for testimony. Documentation. What can you look at? Hmm? What is needed to be looked at? What's needed to be looked at?
Testimony, a wound was inflicted on someone. Right?
In testimony, you look at the face
For identification.
for identification. But for other things, other purposes, it's just like the doctor. You look at what is needed. So these are the 6 types of women. There is another division, easier division, for 3 types only. And based on the necessity, not based on the types of women. They tell you, and I like always the brief statements, but sometimes they are more complicated. That's why I try to break it down. Looking whether for a necessity, then it is permissible according to the necessity. And they give you the example, the doctor, testimony, whatever, or marriage. Looking for a reason, like selling, purchasing. So this reason, if it's valid, then it is attached and linked to the necessity. According to the need, you look. And looking for neither a need or necessity, then prohibited. That's an easier also division. Yes?
Okay, that's another division.
Yeah, for looking.
Need and necessity.
Based on necessity and not necessity. Foreign woman, do you need to look at her? No, so you cannot. It's forbidden. Foreign woman, but you are selling and she wants to ask you, can you look? Yes, it is permissible, but you don't have to. And so this is again for 3 types from that aspect.
So this whole idea that you allowed one look.
One look, that's an exception, because you cannot help it. If we tell you, you are not even allowed to look one look, that's asking you something beyond your control, because you already looked. And when we tell you this is prohibited, in principle, it's prohibited to look at her, but it was sudden. So that's why Islam tells you, because you cannot help it. Now, we mentioned the conditions of marriage, and we will start with the wali. Or before that, before the details, we will mention the conditions of the wali and the witness. How many witnesses you need in marriage? 2. There are 6 conditions for both of them, the wali and the witness. The first condition is Islam. They have to be Muslims. Number 2, puberty. Can you have a witness he is 10 years old or 5 years old? You cannot. Number 3, sanity. Number 4, freedom. Number 5, he has to be male. Females cannot be witnesses in marriage. Number 6, trustworthiness. Again, see these conditions? 6 conditions. Islam. What if a girl accepted Islam and she wanted to get married? Who's her wali? the imam. Her father is there, present. He's not Muslim. Yes?
According to Shafi'i, he cannot be the wali.
According to Shafi'i, he cannot?
He cannot be the wali.
He cannot. Well, he can.
So you just said the wali must be Muslim.
It's an exception now.
In case of marriage of a woman from the people of book, Jews or Christian, the wali does not have to be a Muslim. He does not have to be a Muslim. That's in the Shafi'i school of thought, yes. And I believe that's the correct opinion, actually. Unless, of course, her father is refusing that marriage because of Islam. Then that's another issue. And this could happen even to Muslims when they refuse that person just because he is a good person or he doesn't have money or whatever. It could happen. But just because he is not Muslim, I don't believe this is a sufficient reason to remove his guardianship. Why? Again, in the Shafi'i school of thought, he is still parent. He is still caring for his daughter. And unfortunately, nowadays, automatically, once she accepts Islam, she goes to the masjid, her parents, her family does not know anything, and she is getting married. They are still her family. So we'll stop here, inshallah, and we'll continue next time with the issues of marriage. Is there any question so far? Yes.
My question.
Your question.
On the issue of polygyny,
Polygyny.
I heard once that in this country, since they say you're not allowed to have more than one wife, we are supposed to obey the law of the land. They allow us to come here. We came here, if we're immigrants, we came here and we agreed to follow their rules, so we're supposed to follow their rules, and we should not take another wife because that's breaking their law.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you don't apply Islam, which is optional thing. Now, polygyny is optional. It's not mandatory. But since you accepted not to do it by the law, you should not violate it. That's why I'm telling, by law here, and anyone comes to me and tells me I want another wife, I tell him, fine, but by law it's prohibited. You cannot do it. And we cannot do it, actually. Legally, you cannot write another contract. But many people, what they are doing, it's just like, can you have a girlfriend? Yeah, so you do it this way. But between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, she is your wife.
But the other reason for saying that, he said, was because she cannot really get all of her rights.
No, she can.
Because you can't legalize it.
She can. She can because even if you die, she still has rights. And you can attest to that, and she will get her rights. And even in marriage, like, here's the thing, and we did not discuss it because we cannot discuss everything. If the wife voluntarily says that she doesn't want this right or that right, that's acceptable. Just like Sauda radiallahu anha, she told the Prophet ﷺ, I'm giving you my night. So Aisha radiallahu anha took the night of Sauda. That was the right for one of the wives. So you could voluntarily give up some rights. Yes?
Olivia, what is the ruling of women looking at men?
Women looking at men. In principle, it should be the same. It should be the same. Because that's what Allah says in the Quran. Tell the believing men to lower their gaze, and tell the believing women to lower their gaze also. Yes?
What is the aura of a Muslim woman in front of non-Muslim women?
Non-Muslim woman in front of non-Muslim woman.
No, Muslim woman. Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it is the same. Again, some scholars actually, they differentiated. I don't see any evidence. She's a woman and she's a woman. What's the aura between Muslim man and non-Muslim man? Is it different than Muslim man, Muslim men together? And if there is non-Muslim men, it's the same. Yes?
They say that the reason it's not the same is because you have to make sure that
I know the reason, but I said I don't see an evidence. That's a reason, but that's not an evidence. When they say that she may go and describe, a Muslim woman may go and describe.
Where does teaching come in terms of the need or the necessity of a man looking at women? What level does teaching come in?
Teaching. It depends. Is this teaching needed or it is necessary? Sometimes it is necessary. I believe what we're doing is necessary. It's not only needed. But sometimes it is needed. Like she needs to pay. She needs to provide for her family or whatever. In order to do that, she needs to be educated. So she's going and she's learning.
Like for instance, some people would criticize a lot about different classrooms, like at Maghrib, whatever, or different other kinds of institutions that, or like this, in which there is no barrier. They say that this should not happen. This should not go on. It's improper type of looking.
I disagree with this. Why it's improper? Yes, I may say it's not the perfect method, because if we have bigger facility where we have separate classes, yeah, that's better. And statistically, achievement will improve when women are alone, men are alone. And it's proven in schools. Like when you have both genders, while when you have segregation, it's much more. But even at the time of the Messenger ﷺ, they were not separated. Yes, they were different. But nowadays, I'm not saying that's better to be together. But there is no evidence that you have to separate them. Yes, if we could, we should do it. It is better. But give me the means and I'm willing to do it. Okay, we'll stop here inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.